facility she's at. As the majority of you know, my sister had an accident and is partly paralyzed on her left side and needs 24-hour care. And she's been in this facility since her accident. When she got out of the hospital, it's attached to the hospital because, it's easier to be so close to a hospital. So she's been there, and when we were told she would need 24-hour care, we knew that's something my mom couldn't provide. My parents are divorced, and my dad was shot in Vietnam in the leg, and has a very hard time walking, cannot straighten his leg out of the way. So he wouldn't be able to lift my sister and get her into the shower and do those things. And my mom has had knee replacement surgery, and she's just at an age where she wouldn't be able to do it on her own. There's just no way. She can't lift my sister. So we looked into home health care, and for 24-hour home health care, which is what my sister would need, and getting the home wheelchair accessible, it was extremely expensive, something that even, we just couldn't do. We couldn't do it. And that was very, very hard for my family to deal with. And we just, for the moment being, we knew we couldn't, but we thought, maybe in the future, and, it wasn't off the table. Well, currently, some bad things were happening. Some neglected things where my sister was. And we were pushed up against a wall, and as a family needed to make a decision to move her out of there because she deserves quality of life. And I'm not going to go too much in detail on all of that because that's not what this video is. The reason I'm making this video is not to talk about that. So, as I said a couple weeks ago, even though she is paralyzed, she still was healthy. She had the blood clot that caused brain damage, so she's got brain damage, and she can only talk a little bit and things, but she was healthy. So about 2 weeks ago, she started bleeding, and they checked it up to being her menstrual cycle. And, my mom knew of it, we knew of it, and, about 8-9 days go by, and my mom goes to visit, and she's still bleeding. Like, a lot. There was blood all over the bathroom, blood all over her bed. It was like a crime scene in there. Sorry, I had to take a little break. Got some string cheese. Like I was saying, before I jump back in, I just wanted to say I'm not making this video like it's for sympathy. I'm making this video because, like I said, I share so much with you guys, and you guys have been commenting, asking what's going on, and like I said, it is going to affect my filming, and just, me in general. So, but anyway, I ended up finally, they said, there was no doctor there over the weekend, and this was like a Friday. She would have to wait till Monday to be seen by a doctor. So Monday rolls around, I get a call very early in the morning that she was being rushed to the hospital by ambulance, and when she got there, her hemoglobin was only a 6, and I believe it's supposed to be a 12, so essentially she had lost half of the blood content in her body. following her. She's got a surgeon. There's like so many different teams following her. And essentially there's two separate things going on. So she's got issues going on with her colon. Well, three things. She's got issues going on with her colon. She's got issues going on with some other stuff I'll tell you in a second. So she was bleeding essentially from her uterus, and they found some precancerous cells and need to do further testing for that, but haven't been able to because she's got other things going on. So my sister has been on a blood thinner. I forget the name of it, but she's been on a blood thinner since she had her stroke, because she had her stroke was from a blood clot in her arm. So they've since put her on blood thinners in hopes that she won't have continuous clots, because she had a very, very major stroke, and if she has another, it could kill her. So they don't want her to get another blood clot. And when you're in a hospital and you're not moving around and you're paralyzed as it is, that could easily happen. But they had to take her off of the blood thinner medication because she was bleeding, right? So you can't be on a blood thinner while you're bleeding. That just makes no sense. So she runs the risk of having another stroke, okay? So that's a major factor. Another major factor, and I guess the most dangerous one, when they were doing these tests to find out what's going on with her body and why she's continually bleeding, they found out that the blood vessels in her body are severely damaged. And I literally cannot believe I'm even making this video right now. Like, this is literally crazy. It's like, I go into stages of like, I don't know. Get yourself together. Deep breathing. Okay. So they essentially called my parents and said it was important that they came in. So they did, and they sat them down and told them that essentially her blood vessels are too damaged at this point. And at first they thought she was a candidate to have them, I forget the word, but like fixed essentially. But because there's so much damage and there's so many other factors, you know, like the bleeding and the uterus and her stroke and having to be on blood thinners because of blood clot, like there's just too much counteractive stuff. Like they can't do one because of the other, they can't do the other because of the other. And to do this vessel surgery, they would have to go like something about her spleen, and like she wouldn't make it. Like she would inevitably not make it out of that surgery. And the other option is there is no other option. So, my sister is not going to live. And it was a shock, to say the least. We didn't know about this issue until now. You know, like I said, she's had brain damage and she's in a very unfortunate situation and has very little quality of life where she is, and is, you know, it's just it's been very hard on her family and on muscles are going to last and hold out for. And we don't know how long she can be on that heparin medication. It's just a lot of unknowns. So there have been some people that have been extremely kind, and when we were a few weeks back going to get her, home health care and get her an electric wheelchair instead of a manual wheelchair, so it'd be easier for her to pull herself on the one side than she's able to pull herself, and get her a better quality of life, move her to South Carolina, get a house that's handicapped accessible. Like, we had all these plans 2 weeks ago, and now everything has changed. It's like a snap of a finger. And I guess that's how life is. Like, you never know what's gonna happen from one minute to the next, and I've just been trying to ground myself and appreciate everything around me, and I hope my mindset stays like that, like, I hope it doesn't fade and I forget over time. Like, I want to remember how I feel right now. But like I was saying, there's been some very kind people who have donated prior to this to get my sister more quality of life, help pay for her electric wheelchair and things like that. And thank you to those people. I can't tell you, like, the gratitude that me and my family have. And my mom is going to be saying her own thank you in either an Instagram story or something. We'll figure it out. But we have decided now that we know this situation, and we know that stuff is off the table now. That money will be going towards a, like, dinner and or breakfast after her services when the time comes, to celebrate her life with her friends and her family, and towards flowers and things like that. When I tell you, this feels so surreal, like, I can't even. It's like, I know I've learned about this in school, and it's like your brain doesn't let you process it fully because it's too hard to, like, you can't fully process the thought because it's too hard, if that makes sense. Like, your brain protects you in a way. Same with if you've had a traumatic experience. A lot of times people forget, or they, like, black that out, so it's hard to go back to that memory. It's called flashbulb memory, and it's your brain's way of protecting you from that very hard thought or memory. But I kind of feel like that's where I'm at. Like, I go in and out of being, like, okay or like, numb feeling, and then I'll start hysterically crying, and then, like, I was at the gym the other day and I was just bawling. Like, my mascara was all over my face was beet red. Like, I just lost it because I was thinking, and I just I'm everywhere, and that's why I say that it is going to affect my filming. It's going to affect me. I don't, like I said, we don't know what timeline, and that's hard because we're visiting her, and there are times where she laughs, and she does get a little burst of happiness, and it's just heartbreaking. But inevitably mom about it, and she agreed that I should make this video, so here it is. And when we know more, when I know more, you'll know more. This is the most information we